guys, welcome back to my channel and another Topic Tuesday here. Before we get into the topic though, I would like to introduce you to today's sponsor, Ana Luisa. If you've never heard of Ana Luisa before, they are a jewelry brand that is striving for more sustainability in the jewelry market, and they're doing that in a few different ways. First of all, they use recycled material whenever possible in their jewelry pieces, which I think is really cool. They don't use mined diamonds. If they use diamonds at all in their pieces, they are 100% lab grown, which I really prefer in any kind of jewelry. They are a certified climate neutral brand, which just means that their net carbon emissions are zero across the board, which is also really nice for the environment. And they also use reusable or recycled packaging. So this is the box that my pieces came in. Look at how small this is. It is literally exactly how big it needs to be for the pieces they sent, which I really appreciate because I hate getting these giant boxes that you get like one or two items in. It just doesn't make any sense. And it says right in here, the box was made from 100% recycled paper. And this is, as we all know, this is a nice box. You could reuse this for a lot of different ways, just shipping to your friends, family, whatever. So I really appreciated that. And the other thing I wanted to show you before we get into the pieces themselves is these little cotton bags that they ship the jewelry in. These are little cotton bags. They're very thick, very durable. They feel almost like canvas. They're very tough. And they have a little pocket in here and a magnetic enclosure. And this is what my jewelry came in. I got a bracelet, I got an earring, and I also got a necklace, and they all came in these bags. These are great for if you travel or if you are someone who maybe takes your jewelry off at the gym or throughout the day. You can keep these in your purse and tuck your jewelry in here. It won't get lost. You can also just use these as like a coin purse. You could put your credit cards in there, whatever. These have a lot of functional uses. So these are great to not just toss when you get it. You know, all the packaging seems to be very reusable from them. So the first thing I picked out is this bracelet called the Michael Bold bracelet. And even though it says bold, it is still fairly dainty. It is just a classic link style jewelry. And it has a pretty long extender here. So if you want to tighten it up or loosen it, depending on your wrist size, it's very easy to do so. Next, I picked out this necklace. This is the Leo Bold necklace. Again, it says bold, but I'm telling you, these are very fine, dainty pieces. They look pretty feminine, so don't worry about that. And this is the longer style of their necklace. This is 22 inches. And again, just a really fine piece. And the last piece I have to show you is called the Sia Link. This is a really dainty single earring that requires 2 holes in your ear, but it has a post that has a tiny little cubic zirconia in it. And then it has a small chain that links it to what looks like basically a safety pin. It reminds me of when I was in high school and I was like super edgy and sticking safety pins into my earring holes. But it just looks so delicate, so feminine, so dainty. And it's just really cute. If you have a lot of earring holes like I do, it's a really fun way to utilize multiple at a time. And like I said, this is my absolute favorite piece. So of course, if you are interested, I will have a link down in the description box. Their pieces start at around $39, but I have a code for you. It's Mediocre Manny's 10. And if you use that at checkout, you will get 10% off your entire order. So with all that said, let's get into the main topic of today's video, which we did something similar earlier this month. We had the top 5 mainstream brands. Now we're going to do our top 5 indie brands. And I personally, in my collection, I don't differentiate between indie and boutique. So we're gonna have a little bit of both. I know some people are a little bit more specific with that, but for me, indie and boutique are kind of the same category because to me, anything that is not mainstream in my head is indie. That's just how I function. Now, unlike the last video where I had like my favorite brand that does creams, my favorite overall, my favorite brand that does fun finishes, I don't have any specific categories like that for indies because I've really only wholeheartedly gotten into indies in the past year to year and a half. And I tend to go to indies more for the fun finishes anyways. So I'm just going to tell you my 5 favorite indie brands and why I like them. So these are going to be in no particular order, but the first one I have written down is BKL, or Bee's Knees Lacquer, for those of you who aren't aware. So BKL, one of the big reasons that I am drawn to them is because they do some really interesting finishes, and I will pop up a couple pictures of the stuff that I have swatched here, but they just do a wide variety of finishes in every single collection they put out. They have finishes that I've never seen before. I don't even know how you might call them in comparison to some of the other brands that do similar stuff. I guess, like, there's one that I guess it's kind of a flaky that they do, but it's different than any other flaky I've seen from any other brand. So that one really draws me in. They do a lot of referential types of collections, like they did, I think they had like an It collection. They've done, I think they're doing a Witcher collection recently. They do a lot of media that I personally am, like, while I'm aware it exists, I'm not intimately familiar with it. I don't know a lot about the media, and yet I still find myself incredibly drawn to the collections, which, you know, for me, a lot of times the intellectual property used on a nail polish collection is enough to just put me right over the edge, and sometimes that's the main thing that draws me in. With Bee's Knees Lacquer, that's not the case. I don't get half the references, and yet I'm still right there like, I gotta have this one and this one and this one. The owner is Korean American, and so she also puts a lot of Korean references into her polishes. She's done quite a lot of like Korean monsters in Korean folklore, and I really think that's cool as well. I find that you don't see a lot of Korean-based references in American media, at least not in the mainstream media. So I always really like that, to see those. And I also have found that their customer service is pretty phenomenal. When you go onto their Facebook group, and I recommend, if you are interested in Bee's Knees Lacquer, to join their Facebook group. When you go in there, if you have an issue, you get response like almost immediately. The feedback is so nice in there. I see both the maker and her husband. They are always answering everybody's questions. You see other people helping each other out. If you're like, oh, I really want to see a comparison between this polish and this polish, suddenly you've got like 14 people showing their swatches. So everyone is pretty supportive in that Facebook group. And if you join the Facebook group, you get kind of an earlier awareness of like when things are going to launch and stuff like that, because the launches do move very quickly. That is the one thing that is difficult with Bee's Knees Lacquer, is if you want something, you need to be like on the website right when it opens, add everything to your cart, don't even look at anything, and be done, because people are insanely into BKL, and for a good reason. Like, their polishes are high quality, they are interesting, and they are unlike a lot of what I see on the market today. The second brand on my list is, of course, Moxie Nail Varnish. Now, full disclosure, I do receive PR from them from time to time, but my love for them is very genuine. I have also made purchases from Moxie with my own money. I enjoy this brand wholeheartedly. And I knew right from the get-go that I was gonna like this brand, because when I received that first PR package from them, I got a red polish and I was like, oh, I don't know, it's red. I have a really finicky relationship with red polish because I'm bad at taking it off, and I just make a huge mess and it stains my skin, and because I'm a little bit on the pale side, it just turns my hands even pinker than they even already are. So I was a little bit nervous, and then the second I put it on, I was like, oh my god, this is my new favorite red. It knocked Essie's Forever Yummy right out of the park, which was my previous favorite red cream. And now I'm obsessed with Moxie's Truth instead. That is 100% my go-to candy apple red. I also love Moxie's message. You know, they are trying to be very gender neutral in their marketing, and it just show that nail polish is for everyone, which I think is really important. And I think it's cool that I'm getting to be with this brand right from their hard launch and watch them grow and evolve. And I'm just really excited to see what else they're going to be putting on the market and how they're going to change the game. And of course, if you guys want to check them out, I do always have them linked in my description box. And if you want to save 10% at checkout, you can use my code MEDIOCRE. The third brand on my list is Cirque Colors. I mean, first of all, I love the clicky sound that the bottles make. I'm not going to dwell on that because I went a little bit ham on that in one of my last videos. But I really love Cirque specifically for their shimmer polishes. They just do a really good shimmer. I just feel like they have subtle colors but with a very strong shimmer. And like Succulent Garden, I've harped on this one a little bit. They have quite a few in that same shimmer finish with the hollow glitter running through. I love those from them. Another cool thing that Cirque does is something called their Do Good polishes. And if you're not familiar with that, what they do is they create a polish and they choose an organization to which all of the net proceeds from that polish will be donated. So in the past, they have done Coral Restoration Foundation, the NAACP Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Let's see, we have the Transgender Law Center, the Eden Reforestation Projects, which was to plant trees in Madagascar, an Animal Haven, which was a nonprofit organization that finds homes for abandoned cats and dogs in New York City. They donated to Planned Parenthood of New York City. They also recently did one that donated to Welcome to Chinatown, which is one that I purchased. Like, they just give back quite a bit, which I really respect. And another thing I like about them is, you know, when you look at a website's about us, they're always saying like, oh, we support diversity and we're advocates for diversity. And then when you look at like the swatch photos online, it's like, where is that? But with Cirque, when you go through their swatch photos, you see a variety of nail shapes and skin types and things like that. And so I think that Cirque does a much better job than a lot of bigger brands putting their money where their mouth is. You know, they show, they don't tell. And I appreciate that from a brand. Because anybody can say, oh, we're diverse. But at the end of the day, you can say whatever you want. You have to follow through. And I feel like Cirque does a pretty decent job of that. And the last thing about Cirque that I really like is they put together very well curated collections. And even though I don't buy from them super frequently, I've been buying more Cirques recently. And it's just cool, like their marketing and stuff. It's very curated. It looks really pretty together. And I think that they do a good job with the marketing matching the theme of their collections. Number 4 is Different Dimension Nails. And this is, I think, either the first or one of the first indie polish brands I ever purchased from. It was either them or KB Shimmer, I can't remember. But either way, Different Dimension has, I think, one of the lower price points in indie nail polish, and I think that's probably what drew me to them initially. And then I stayed because they have a ton of offerings in their catalog. I think that they're around $10 a polish, but they also have random sales all the time, and I recommend following them on Instagram because that is where I found out about most of their sales. I found out about like, I think it was like a 30 or 40% off flash sale once, and I went a little ham on that. They just have like already low price, and then you take that off. I mean, my cart was full. I believe they're still on a break because their maker did have surgery. However, I would recommend signing up for their email list or checking out their Instagram, like I said, because they have a lot of good offerings. And they're another brand that I think that their curated collections are really good. They don't force themselves to add more polishes than necessary to a collection. You know, they release duos, trios, and they have bigger collections as well. Like they did a 7 Deadly Sins collection, which of course had 7 polishes, but I also have purchased a couple trios from them. Like they did a 90s trio, which was this bright poppy neon pink, yellow, and blue. I bought, I think it was called like the Rocket Man trio, and it was these 3 very soft cream polishes, just jam-packed with iridescent flakies. And like I said, like that was the perfect amount of polishes for that concept. And I never felt like anything was kind of shoehorned in or forced to make sense. And I really like when brands don't shy away from like, oh, it's a holiday, we really only need a duo for like St. Patrick's Day, so we're only going to release a duo. I like that. I don't need 6 St. Patty's Day polishes, you know what I mean? And so I feel like Different Dimension does a really good job at that. And this one, I am hesitant to include it in my list because it's kind of in like a gray area right now, but number 5 is 90. 90 is not officially back yet. However, Jess of Jess Face 90 is back on YouTube, and she has said she's interested in getting it back and running again. It's just a matter of if it's feasible or not, I believe. And I really like this brand a lot for a couple reasons. Like, number 1, I just really love Jess. You know, she's also from Michigan, which I like to watch a lot of like Michigan-based content. There's something about supporting people from your state. It just feels like, oh yeah, we're both here. But also, it's just like, she's really beautiful. And I like how concise she is with her reviews. She's really good at her reviews. It's just very high quality. I aspire to be on that level, but man, her photos are always top tier and her descriptions are really good as well. Totally opposite of how I do reviews. And as far as the brand itself, like her collections, I really enjoy that she has kind of a mix of themes. And what I mean by that is, some brands, they tend to only do themes that they thought of. And some brands only tend to do themes that are like based on TV or movies or shows or books or whatever. And I like that Jess has done both. She's got her smoothie bar collection, which I think is all her. She's got her Animal Crossing New Horizons collection, which obviously is based on a video game. I bought that collection. I know she's done a Supernatural collection. She's had like Super Mario collections, but she's also done holiday themed collections and things like that. So she has a healthy mix of both. So I feel like something like that makes it more accessible to people who maybe don't get all the references from the shows and stuff like that, and maybe feel a little bit like, oh, I don't want to buy something based on something I don't understand. And as much as I love her Animal Crossing collection, and I was really excited when that came out, the best collection from her that I like, or my favorite one I should say, is her smoothie bar collection. And I think maybe half, maybe 60% of them. And so I really do hope she comes back so that I can go and pick up the rest of those. So yeah, those are my top 5 indie brands in my collection right now. I'm hoping to expand and try even more indie brands, but at the moment I'm trying to kind of keep it a little bit chill, a little bit low key, because I do know that when I go to Polish and Beauty Expo in June, I don't know. In the summer, I'm going to be bringing back so much. There's going to be a massive influx of indies. So I won't be hurting for them later in the year. So I'm just trying to kind of keep the intake low because I know that once we hit that point, it's going to be a lot. So that's going to be it from me today. Again, I just want to thank my sponsor, Ana Luisa. Don't forget, if you want to check them out, I do have a link down in the description as well as a 10% off code for you. And also let me know, you guys, if we have any matching favorite indie brands or what your favorite indie brands are. I would love to go check them out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.